And here we have the Sandy bridge-E, the i7-9, the 3930K. By default, it runs about 3.2 gigahertz. But basically, I gotta get one thing clear for a lot of people, and the fact is that whenever you apply thermal paste, I've heard many different points, many different people saying, like, oh, well, I do it this way or that, blah, 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 blah. The bottom line is you don't want more on there. You want as minimal as possible. The biggest problem with a lot of, people applying thermal paste is they just goop it on. And when you goop it on, it's just not gonna, it's not gonna, because the whole point of thermal paste is you're trying to take and transfer the heat this chip builds up to your heatsink and out. And the best is metal to metal. That's the best way to transfer heat. The problem is there's no way you're going to be able to manufacture a perfect piece of metal without any dits, any type of blemishes or anything. I mean, the manufacturing would just be it'd be enormous, and the cost would be passed on to us. So that's the point of thermal paste. And thermal paste is you're basically trying to take any heat that builds up, goes through this compound that fills in all these little crevices onto the heatsink. I've seen people just goop heatsink like thermal compound. And by the way, what I use is Arctic Silver 5. It's the best out there. I mean, it's all relative. Arctic Silver 5 is my favorite. It seems to have the best cooling ability. But there are different ways you can apply it. I've done the spread technique, but I've read people's opinions saying, well, the spread technique, you can actually cause little air bubbles when you put the heatsink on with the pressure. Another thing you can do is do like an X. The only thing is with the X, I find it puts too much on there. I've seen it where I've done the X and it actually bleeds off to the side and everything. Really, all you need to do is if you just put like a small dot, like right here, right in the center, just a good little bead. With that pressure of the heatsink going on it, it's going to spread it out across. Because the chip is actually right here. This is just a heat spreader. This is not even the processor. It's underneath. And it has its own thermal paste that's underneath of this that transfers from the chip to the heat spreader, and then using more thermal compound to get it to your heatsink, and then so on and so forth. So, basically, and always whenever you put a chip in, wipe all the compound off. Do not reuse compound. Just this 99.953% alcohol is what you need. If you have a Fry's, it's like this big bottle, I think is like $10. It'll last you forever. If you're in a pinch, you don't have that. If you go to Walgreens, they do have 92% alcohol, and that works in a pinch. If you want to splurge a little bit, Arctic Silver does make some thermal compound. It's called Arctic Clean that cleans off the thermal compound. But be honest with you, this alcohol will take off everything. I mean, anything that's gunked up on there, it'll just dissolve. But basically, yeah, you always want to reapply. One thing I do is on the heatsink, and what we're using is well, it's a little too far away for me to grab, but I'm using a Silver Arrow, and what I do is I like to spread heatsink or spread the thermal paste on there and wipe it off with like a paper towel, just a simple paper towel. And what you'll see when you wipe it off, you're not wiping it all off, it's actually filling in all those micro crevices and dits and everything. You'll actually, it was shiny, will become kind of discolored, and that's because there's still thermal paste in all the grooves and everything. I do like to still do that. I don't see anything wrong with that because, like I said, you're removing all the excess. But just keep in mind, anytime you apply thermal paste to a processor, don't go crazy because you're just going to cause more problems. And also, it is conductive. If that gets into your pins down here, you can fry the whole chip. So, just thought I'd mention that.